'Cause I'd rather feel pain than...
The human brain doesn't allow us to remember pain, at least not the way the pain makes us feel. Instead, it recalls the emotions that are associated with the pain. It's why runners will happily take part in a second or third marathon, but patients will feel anxious about another hospital visit. It's also why we can't imagine anybody else having felt something as severe as we are right now. It's not through selfishness, it's just that we have no benchmark. With that in mind, and considering that theatre is an empathetic medium, it may seem a rather odd choice to have a chronic pain treatment centre as a setting for a new play. But that is exactly what we have here in Annie Baker's Infinite Life, now at the National Theatre's Dorfman. But as with all Baker's plays, the setting plays a very secondary role. Here, pain is merely a portal through which we are invited to spy on people. We follow Sophie, Christina Kirk, during her stay at the retreat, somewhere in the sweltering heat of the Northern California desert. As time passes, she sits out on the sun yard, taking her place on a sun lounger alongside the other patients who come and go. They are all at different stages of a treatment that seems to be little more than fasting for a period as dictated by an unseen doctor. Other than Sophie, the other patients are of around pensionable age. It is a disparate group of characters who have been brought together by this experience. Each is suffering from their own form of pain, which feels worse than any of the others, but they are more comforting to each other than competitive. Eileen, Mary Louise Burke, wonderfully strong in her fragility as she was in Baker's previous piece, John, suffers from complex regional pain syndrome, a non-life-threatening condition that could just disappear tomorrow, even though there is no cure. Yvette, Mia Katibak, accepts her lot in life, even though she has been through every sort of illness in the book, has led to her having her bladder removed. Elaine, Brenda Presley, and Ginny, played by Christine Nielsen, have returning cancer. Sophie also has bladder pain, hers specifically related to the vagina. We don't actually discover much about their pain, although it is always there bubbling underneath. They just have to get on with their lives. We sense that these people would never have met were it not for the pain, and so they do as humans are wont to do. They sit, they chat, they say nothing, they pass comment, they philosophise, they sleep, and we watch as they pass the time. In plays and movies, in order that we can get a picture of the characters in front of us, we're used to hearing people ask very direct questions and get over-revealing answers.
I'm sorry to bother you, ma'am. I just wanted to ask you one more question.
What is it?
But that rarely happens in real life.
There's one other thing I wanted to talk to you about. It's rather personal.
Baker reveals little about her characters' outside lives either, at least not directly. She prefers to let things drip in as they colour the conversations they are having, conversation on the fact that we have two sphincters, the pros and cons of the word organic, whether porn is generational. We discover Ginny is a mother to her lesbian partner's daughter. Eileen is a Christian Scientist whose faith may be wavering. Sophie is having an affair. It is very sexual, but involves no contact. Elaine has a safe word to keep her protected from her husband. We are later joined by a male patient, Nelson, played by Pete Sampson, a hybrid of David Hasselhoff and Dick Van Dyke in the Diagnosis Murder days. He is more comfortable talking about his open marriage than he is about his profession. Other playwrights may drop in hints and clues that later come to impact plot. Baker doesn't. She just lets them sit there and moves on. Not everything in life has an impact on everything else. It forces us to fill in the gaps. What we hear brings to mind our own prejudices, our own experiences, our own thoughts and opinions. It's similar to asking someone, what do you do for a living? And no matter what their answer, our brains automatically create this picture of their status in society, their financial situation, even perhaps their relationship status. As such, it's very possible that no two audience members will feel the same about any character they have seen. You may wonder what drove all these characters to this clinic. You may still wonder. We don't discover what led them to come to a place that has practices that are surely questionable and which we are predisposed to think has prices that are rather exclusionary. Everything that we see takes place within the here and now. It is a snapshot that only exists in and of itself. This is something Baker is known for. Plots don't develop, settings are merely scaffold. She draws people and lets us watch the minutiae of day-to-day life. Her 2016 play, The Flick, was set in a cinema, but underneath the surface had little to do with film.
I never go to the movies. Kind of over movies. I mean, I used to be super into them, but I'm just sort of over them. Oh. You're like totally obsessed with them, aren't you?
Yeah.
Her 2018 play, John, was set in a spooky guest house, but it had nothing to do with holidays, and the expected spookiness and twists and turns, we wrote them in ourselves.
And seltzer water are here. Help yourself to whatever you like. Candy and cookies up there. Dangerous. Well, it can be very dangerous.
What is happening?
Baker's plays have no typical beginning, middle and end. They are without structure, like we are looking in on events for a period of time. They just happen. And then we leave them to continue. Another well-known fact about Baker is that she likes to take her time. Seeing one of her plays requires a great deal of patience from an audience member, patience that some don't feel is sufficiently rewarded. It's common to see second act audiences rather smaller in size than they were before the interval. Much of the time she fills with silence, great swathes of nothingness. No stage business, no facial expression to take our interest. Again, much as happens in everyday life. Unlike the Pinter pause, which allows characters to position themselves hierarchically,
I think that might qualify as a Pinter silence.
sometimes here we see characters just not knowing what to say or wanting to move on from the conversation. Sometimes it's comfortable. Sometimes uncomfortable.
What? Nothing. Okay, all right. See you later. All right.
In Infinite Life, this time is further highlighted as Sophie breaks the fourth wall to signpost 8 minutes, 6 hours, 24 hours later. We're left wondering what happens in these gaps of time that we're not party to. Towards the end, as the impact of not eating and the unbearable heat gets to Sophie, her memory becomes less reliable. Time passes without being broken, and she introduces the last scene with was it day 8 or day 9 or day 10, and she's no longer sure how long she was there. Compared to the other plays, Infinite Life is sprightly. It runs at 105 minutes, though there is no interval. But the pace, the gentle tone, the quiet conversation and the nothing much happens plot, it is not a play to see if you're lacking of energy after a busy week. The effect can be quite soporific. And the seats in the Dorfman?
Excuse me. Sir, excuse me.
They're not built to be slept in. Infinite Life is thoughtful and poignant. It has much to offer as a gentle portrait of the everyday. The cast, all of whom have directly transferred from the premiere that happened in New York only in September, are an exceptional ensemble. It's difficult to imagine the stillness of the play being able to captivate with even one link of this chain missing. But it is a particular type of theatre. If you go in with the right energy and the right expectations, it provides much to nourish your soul. But if you're looking for theatre to excite you and surprise you, to have a clear story, this may not fit the bill so much. The Dorfman has become the London home to Annie Baker's work, and I can't think of a venue more suitable. Baker may be the Pinter of our generation. Her exquisite writing displays great human insight. She may never be mainstream, but she remains a genius whose work is always enlightening.